feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing. Got a taste for blood and my tongue keeps bleeding. From the words I spit, so sharp, so freezing. So cold, behold, frostbite they feeling. I could tear you apart or I could go heal them. Don't believe in fate, don't believe in ceilings. I just need a taste and my mind starts feeling. I don't pace myself, I grind on kneeling. Got lust for change, I just love the feeling. I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. Cause I'ma live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I go by at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll soon be winning. I live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I go by at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll soon be winning. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon.
You know, since we've been talking and planning for this show, all of a sudden, all of my advertisements on Facebook are for protective trinkets from abduction.
Mm-hmm. It's going to happen. Hey, I have a question. Like, if somebody out there, next time we have our opening, I just noticed this. Tell me how many different type of baseball hats I wear during our opening. I will send you a T-shirt or something.
It's got to be somewhere in the mid 50s, I would think.
There's a
Good
couple of
evening, everybody, and welcome to Dead Air Live on the Dead Air Full Spectrum channel. Here we are on a Sunday night show, and a unique show tonight. We are not throwing the baton over to a guest as an interrogation kind of a thing, but this is more of an investigative show with us this evening. Just yours truly and Mr. Ken DaCosta joining you guys in chat tonight, and thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. But looking forward to our discussion this evening because I believe it's all a conspiracy, which Ken will give you a little bit more information on that you guys can participate with. But in the meantime, how else can you participate? Well, you can subscribe to the channel, which is certainly an opportunity there. Hit that subscribe button. Also, the reminder bell from upcoming content and the thumbs up, which I think Mary Beth said she already hit the thumbs up. Thank you, Mary Beth. So always important each and every show for you guys to
Indeed.
click that thumbs up. It's important for the algorithm. So, but yeah, Ken, you got some interesting things set up tonight. This is more in your wheelhouse. I'm just a squirrel trying to get a nut. I'm just a visitor here in this town. So, what do we got going on?
Well, you know, as a lot of people have probably read, the disappearance of a number of scientists, I think we're around 13 now, has certainly caused a lot of kerfluffle among UFO theorists and different communities. And right now they're beginning to take it very seriously. So we talked this week. This is something we've wanted to do for a couple of weeks. So we thought we'd take a dive into this tonight. Conspiracy theorists unite, for instance. I get my glasses. Look, where's Ken? I don't know where he is. Oh, there he is, right? So I'll do like the Clark Kent thing tonight. No one knows who Ken is.
Yeah, well, I can tell you guys this. Full disclosure, you can hear that word tonight. Full disclosure, we tried getting several people from the UFO community to join us in this discussion tonight, but they've all disappeared. No communication. It's been a very weird situation across there. I think everybody right now is holed up in a cabin in the woods. finding out
I'm
who's
not.
the next
I'm
to
not sure.
disappear.
We had an open invitation, and a lot of people either don't know about it or don't know enough about it to comment, which is the reason that we're putting this together tonight, right? To give you some information and let you draw a conclusion on this because, frankly, it's weird. It's really weird. There's one thing I want to do right now while we get this set up, and that's we're going to run a poll tonight. We're actually going to run two.
Ooh.
And here it is right now. From what you know, and this is the question, from what you know about this situation, do you think it's all coincidence or is it a conspiracy? Now, those of you in YouTube chat, I want you to vote often. You must put the hashtag in front of your choice, hashtag A or hashtag B. We also have a QR code down the bottom if you want to take a screenshot of that. But I'm interested to see how many of you right now feel as though this is something that really is kind of a cover up and it's a conspiracy. And what we're going to do is when we take our break, we're going to come back. And at the end of the show, we are going to reset this and see how many of you still think it's a coincidence or a conspiracy.
I voted conspiracy with the little watermark thing. What are those called on the bottom there?
QR.
The QR code. Yes, I just
QR
voted
code. That's
conspiracy.
fancy. That's fancy stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll talk a little bit about it. I want to give you enough chance because we can revisit this in a few minutes, but I want to let you know that it's there, and I would definitely like you to vote because this is one of those shows where we're doing it tonight. So clearly, we're speaking to you, our audience. So you are going to have input in this. We'll put your comments up. If you have questions, we'll do our best to try to answer them. But as George said, it was something that a lot of people wanted to stay away from, probably because, I don't have a lot of inside knowledge about it. In the news cycle, George, you know how it is. This is just something that happened that has gone viral and crazy until the next thing comes along. But we did not want to let it go on this show and revisit it a month from now. So we're going to talk about it tonight. Cody and Satori are in chat tonight. Hi, guys. They're coming back from Ohio State Reformatory. I hope they had a heck of a good time out there. I've got some pictures there.
They voted conspiracy.
They are with Ghost Rider out there posing on his motorcycle. So, all good. Right now, one in coincidence. Okay.
And Jeff Hilton is voting for both.
Jeff, as an independent voter, you can do that, but there's going to be an audit. I want to see those. I want to see those election results.
Yes.
From Jeff Hilton, we're going down where he is right now. I think that there was a ballot dump there.
Yeah, somebody's on
Thanks,
the
Heidi. So I wanted to give you a little bit of time, which means that we'll probably do another minute or so of inane banter. And again, this is something that was a hot button topic. Apparently, Congress is taking it very seriously, and they're going to dive into this. But there are a lot of theories out there. We can talk about some of them at some point where a foreign entity has either unalived or disappeared some people, or it's an inside job, people who are going to disclose things. And there are some tonight that we are going to see that the online sleuths have kind of connected some dots, as they will do from time to time, and maybe it's not what we think they were. So we'll come back to this. These are going to be in 3 tiers tonight, and there's going to be a video with information on it. We'll kind of read it as we go along, and hopefully you'll learn a little bit of something. And after the third tier, the first we're going to show, we'll come back to the voting. But come on, folks, let's go. We got to get this done. What kind of scientists are they? Well, they had a lot to do with jet propulsion,
Anti-gravity.
anti-gravity, energy development, all of those things that perhaps the industrial complex wouldn't want getting out there if they were going to disclose some things. Some are in the UFO community, and there are some video dumps, which hopefully maybe in another week or so, if we grab somebody, I'd like them to kind of analyze these video dumps we're getting. But there's a lot of different theories. So this is what they were, and they all had ties to places like Los Alamos, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, Caltech, MIT, and they were working on these kind of things. So we will come back to that. But first, let's go to Tier 3. Now, these are, in my eyes, mostly pattern recognition. You may think differently because some of them are kind of compelling, but a lot of times the internet will connect things and make their own conspiracy theories. So let's take a look at the people involved in what I would call personally Tier 3. And we can talk over this. Internet expansion, because you know how that happens. First one, Michael David Hicks.
Yep.
Worked at Jet Propulsion Laboratory in asteroid and comet observation systems, worked with NASA. Undisclosed death in 2023. May have discovered the theory related to hidden space threats or classified astronomical data. He was included in this as the growing pattern narrative in internet speculation. Frank Maywald. I don't know if I'll keep up on the text here, but again at JPL Engineering Systems. Cause of death undisclosed, July of 2024. Attached classified programs, again, propulsion research. Likely inclusion, medical data is withheld, resulting in, so of course that always creates a gap. Anthony Chavez, construction foreman at Los Alamos, May 2025. Culture of secrecy, perhaps saw something he shouldn't have. No evidence suggests foul play, but it happened in New Mexico. Then there's Melissa Cassius, administrative assistant at Los Alamos, once again. Dropped off lunch to her daughter, simply vanished. Not a researcher, but security clearance. Case remains unresolved. Wallet keys and factory reset phone were left behind. She was walking on a highway.
Two reset phones.
Yep. Stephen Garcia. He was a property custodian, Kansas City, National Security. Walking, again, New Mexico, walked his home on foot, carrying a handgun. Never seen again. So again, high security clearance. No keys or wallet. He took a bottle of water and a handgun. Never seen again. Here's a Jason Thomas. Chemical biology at Novartis. His body was recovered from a lake in Massachusetts, right next door in 2026. Knowledge of pharmaceutical suppression. Basically big pharma. No evidence of foul play.
Just found in a lake.
Yeah. So that's Tier 3. And I'll say this, George, I want to hear it from your perspective. Melissa Cassius, They caught her on some cameras as she walked down the highway. Someone said she got into a car. That is not proven because they don't have that on video. There was a factory reset on her phone. She dropped her husband off at Los Alamos, where he also worked. She was an administrative assistant and just simply vanished. There were a couple of instances where the families of these people are upset that their deceased loved ones have been lumped in to this kind of thing. If you look at Jason, for example, found in a lake months later, there is no evidence of foul play in the case of some of these people, and it is not unusual for a family to not want the cause of death disclosed. You see that in some cases where someone has taken their own life. If you read the obituary, it will say something like died suddenly, because they don't want those kind of graphic details to kind of mar remembrance for their loved ones. So there are some families who take exception that the internet has blown this up. There are a couple in there, admittedly, that are kind of weird. You know, Chavez leaves his house with a bottle of water and a handgun, of all things. Never seen from again, so I'll give you that. So what are your thoughts on Tier 3 and those individuals?
Well, there's, again, in the things that I've looked at research-wise, you can try to come up with specific answers as to why possibly these things have happened, but it's in the frequency and in some cases, again, the consistency in what has gone on, the ones that just wind up missing for no reason whatsoever. Looking at, let's see, Ingrid Lane as an example. She was one of the scientists who disappeared. They found her car, and you talked about the two phones being set to factory reset in her car, where, by the way, they've never found her. And apparently, their statement was that the car looked like it had been hit in the rear by a boulder. It doesn't look like a boulder impact. First of all, boulders roll down. It would have hit the roof, never hit the roof, just the back of the car, and then damage to the front of the car. But she had an unused, unactivated burner phone in the car that was left behind. In a lot of these disappearances, Ken, same situations will always happen. Those who disappeared, uh, such as Major General Neal McLellan, walked out of his house. His wife called 911, said he left his wallet, he left his phone, he left his
Don't get ahead of us here.
yeah, but in a lot of these cases, again, there are patterns of similarity where they leave their identifiers, ways to track them behind. That's the bizarre part behind it. But in a lot of these cases, and do you have upcoming stuff on Matthew Sullivan?
I believe we do.
Okay, I'll leave that alone for now because that one's quite interesting
Yeah,
as well.
that's our show tonight, folks.
But what's crazy about it, Ken, is again looking at all of this. It's not just a United States issue because apparently there are scientists who went missing in China, in Russia, and other places all over the world.
Sure.
If you're going to look at this as coincidence, man, it's it's really something to even kind of take that with a grain of salt. Where a conspiracy, if it's also scientists in other countries, then you got to consider the possibility that this is a global organization that's doing this and not just, you know, the CIA, or this is something with big money, big money.
Well, see, this is the genesis of conspiracy theories, lacks of information. When there is information not forthcoming or being withheld, gaps are filled in. Obviously, we have a couple of people like Michael Hicks and Frank Maywald, the first two we looked at, whose cause of death wasn't released. And of course, what happens is people fill in those gaps. Now, Michael Hicks was 2023, Frank Maywald was 2024. And nobody was paying much attention back then until like late 2025, where somebody said, there's something odd here. And again, not releasing the cause of death is a family decision, however they want to do that. Because unless there's a crime committed, obviously, if there is suspicion of a homicide or something like that, then there's an investigation done. In those cases, there was none. Anthony Chavez, we have a missing person. Melissa Cassius, we have a missing person. Okay, Stephen Garcia, we have a missing person. He was 2025. Jason Thomas, police were satisfied that there was no foul play involved. How he wound up in a lake, we don't know. So what happens, unfortunately, is that when there are gaps, people want to fill them. And there's no better place than the internet. And it's kind of disturbing. So I would always say err on the side of caution when they're doing those things, because internet sleuths have been known in the past to do some incredible work. They truly have, but we just went through a thing here with serial killers in New England, and we talked to our friend Maureen Boyle about that, who is a journalist who has written books on serial killers, things like that. And I mean, she scoffed at the notion, but people do connect dots. So I would just say to anybody, not trying to convince you one way or the other, I'm just here to, present the facts as we know them. But always have it in the back of your mind that when information is missing, someone will rush to fill it in. And sometimes rightly, sometimes wrongly.
Yeah, but aren't you the least bit suspicious over the fact that who these people are by title and position,
Sure.
and that they are unexplained? There are so many missing explanations at the same time
Mm-hmm.
that, again, you're going to go down the conspiracy rabbit hole because it doesn't make sense. If when the who was the one with the beanie cap? I don't
Don't
know if
get
that's
ahead of us.
I don't know where you are with regards to.
This
I'll
was
save
tier.
my questions for the end of the show.
No, this was tier 3. But is it suspicious? I don't say it's not. Well, look at these: Jet Propulsion Laboratory, Los Alamos, Los Alamos, Los Alamos, and then we had one at Novartis, which is someone that's interested in pharmaceutical chemistry. Yeah, pharmaceutical chemistry. And there's always, advanced biomedical research. So, of course, Big Pharma had something to do with his disappearance, and the rest are all JPL or Los Alamos. So, if you're asking if there's something in me that goes, there absolutely is. There absolutely is. But I'm looking at this at a wider scale. There may have been 4 people who work at Walmart that disappeared. But you don't hear about that. This is salacious. So I don't know its statistics as far as I think Frank Maywald, he looked like he was in his 70s or, beyond that. The rest of these people
Young.
honestly look like they're in their 40s,
Yep.
possibly 50s. And the photos we showed show some rather young people, if we're being honest about it. So, of course, there are suspicions, but I think with this tier, this is not a defense of everything and putting this together, but this is more the internet going crazy.
No, I disagree.
No, okay. Why?
Again, you're looking at a small amount of time with some pretty influential people, people who are in the game to change it. It just, again, I don't think people they may look at answering this. It's like we do our show here, and I say, Ken, who is going to benefit most from these disappearances and from these deaths? Who benefits from it most? And again, that would be going down the rabbit hole. That would be filling in the gaps. But facts are facts. These people are either dead or missing. The circumstances behind that are what make it extremely, extremely controversial. These are the things that as I was looking at and researching all of this, you had one man who, said died of a heart attack due to obesity. Who made that call? A doctor over a phone looking at charts. There was no autopsy, zero autopsy with regards to that. That's Kevin Childress, and he was about to release UAP files to a congressperson. So the guy was a senior agent at the Department of Energy. These circumstances seem to have some sort of driving force behind it. And if there's anybody, I mean, we talk about worldwide assassination attempts, assassination successes that go on out there. And these people are not top of the line. You got professional people out there who can make these things happen. And we're not even getting into the topic of what if they're getting extraterrestrial assistance. As you said, I don't want to get ahead of everything, but in those circumstances where people went missing, such as Monica Racist, she was working on something, a particular alloy. Do you know the name of that alloy?
I do.
That, and then she worked under General McCaslin. I mean, it's just all these things don't fall into coincidence category for me because all of it happened in such rapid succession. So yeah, I don't think I think people are out there wondering. I think people are out there trying to fill in a lot of the gaps for why this happened and who caused this to happen. But let's state the facts, Ken. It happened. These things happened.
Well, they do happen, but if someone dies of obesity, I don't have the national statistics, but I'm sure all of them didn't work at Los Alamos.
At 45 years old,
Sure, absolutely.
I don't know.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No
We
prior
don't
medical
we
issues.
we don't know at Los Alamos and JPL if there was exposure to a pathogen or something along those lines because some of these people that you're going to see coming up were complaining of they were going through some things mentally.
Yeah.
So
Thus,
we just
autopsy, right? They didn't do an autopsy on the guy,
what guy?
Kevin Childress. No cause of death, no examination, and it was a doctor who said it was due to obesity.
What's his medical history prior to this?
Uh,
Prior to this, I mean,
I don't have it on there, but at the same time,
right?
again, wouldn't you want to find out what it is? Wouldn't you want
Of course.
an autopsy to be done to determine for sure in case there were chemical uh, exposures that happened where he was working at? Uh,
Well, that would be a whole different show because we know for a fact that there have been exposures going back to the 40s. The soldiers were literally told to duck. We're
Yep.
going to go to Los Alamos, or we're going to test an atomic bomb.
Yeah.
And again, I'm guilty of doing the same thing. Could it be this? Could it be that? Could it be this? Could it be that? And this is where a lack of information triggers these kind of things online where someone's tied in. And if someone had died of obesity and their family is well aware of their situation, they might take a different tone. It's like, please don't lump him in with that type of thing. He wasn't working on dark energy or something like that. So the other thing is that goes along with it that causes this is these people have highly classified security clearances. So what they were doing there isn't really that known. They can speak in generalities. Well, he specialized in asteroid and comet observation systems. So online immediately, I forget what that movie was last year or the year before, where it was kind of like a dark comedy where an asteroid was hitting the Earth. I think it was Leonardo DiCaprio, a couple of people trying to warn everybody, and
Yeah, don't look up.
don't look up, right? So there are people on the internet. He knows an asteroid is about to strike us, but they suppressed it. See, that's the kind of thing that when you leave it open, people aren't serious about it. Like, we're trying to be serious about it. Like, this is suspicious. This needs to be a little bit more forthcoming. That's fair. That's absolutely fair. But when people just start to fill in those things, and a lot of times the UFO community, it's you know, a kind of like people who always go to that fringe element.
Well, that's what we're left to. Who would be in charge of these investigations typically, Ken?
Well, it would be the United States government, or depending on it, first of all, would be the local police because they have jurisdiction. I'm sure the police in Massachusetts investigated Jason Thomas. They didn't call in the FBI or something like that. So they have jurisdiction, whether it's the Albuquerque police or whomever. Now, when you're getting into somebody who has a security clearance, then it becomes a little more of a federal matter. So you've got a couple of different agencies that are looking on this thing. Because right now, I don't think the FBI is necessarily looking for Anthony Chavez. Maybe they are, if he crossed state lines or something like that. But as it stands right now, logistically and legally, we have a missing person with a handgun. And if it was anybody else, they'd be considered a potential danger to themselves or somebody else. Suspect is armed, etc., etc.
There is at least two on the notes that I took. Two individuals who wound up dead or disappearing that in a very short period of time were scheduled to appear before Congress
Mm-hmm.
and talk on UAPs, UFOs, and things of that sort. And then these mysterious or unusual deaths had occurred. This to me again, this is the thing movies are made of. But when we're talking about who's jumping in and doing the investigating, and again, you're talking about once it gets to security clearance levels, who's going to take over with that? Who has the power and position to manipulate those investigations? And again, it's a trickle down. We all know that part, just by common sense experience. But if there's this level of money and that money trickles down, they're going to be going down from there. It's like certain people who get pardoned who shouldn't because the people above said, "Yeah, go ahead and pardon that
Mm-hmm.
guy." It's a game of shuffling around the money more than anything else, but
Well,
also along with that is the power involved with that also. Who
Well,
keeps and
I mean,
controls the power?
everybody thinks that. I mean, there's a history of this type of thing. The guy who invented a car that could run on water. What? Where is he? Where's that water car right now? Listen, it's if you have. I don't want to like go off, but we're not really, because the UFO community plays a big role in this. If this technology is available, this is why private contractors get the contracts. It's not, they don't have something at the Pentagon where they're taking it apart. There may be government scientists, but a lot of this reverse engineering or things that have been rumored to happen, they're done through independent contractors who bid and get a large portion of that money. We learned from, depending on, how you feel about Lou Elizondo, $22 million for ATIP, and later on finding out that $22 million went to Robert Bigelow, the guy who once owned Skinwalker Ranch, because they were doing the look-see into potential or possible alien technology. If you can control that, for better or worse, free energy for everybody, well, we don't want that, because there are a lot of people that are going to lose a lot of money over that. We understand that. But there are certain technologies that if we can weaponize them and they can be part of our war inventory, then of course you're going to sit on those things. I don't think that's any news to anybody. This has been going on for a very, very, very long time.
But from what we're experiencing here, and I don't want to continue on with this because I know you have a lot to present first, and then we can go round and round with this. But when you're talking about levels such as the Department of Defense or the Department of War, whatever they want to call it, and you know, there are potentially technological secrets uh, and technological superiority within the government
Hmm.
from either reverse technology on these UFOs that they've obtained, if in fact that's the situation. I mean, they don't want any of this to get out. And, even if they, he see a text message on uh, one of these employees' phones about this, they're not going to take a chance. It's so much easier to just get rid of them. Um, and that this may be just a process in general that they, in a lot of these circumstances, don't need these people anymore. Maybe they've obtained everything they needed to obtain with the help of these people. So instead of letting them running loose, let's get rid of them. And Ken, I don't know the whole situation. I know you're deeper into this, but even the Roswell situation, whether or not most of the people or some of the people, you know, are are gone, were gone mysteriously. I don't know if that's something you ever looked into, but people working at Roswell could be leakers also.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no on Roswell. There were people who claimed they were threatened with death, certainly. Um,
Well, Lou
Again,
Alessandro said he was threatened also, didn't he?
yeah, I mean, again, we're unfortunately we're losing those people. Kind of like the Kennedy thing. We're losing those
Running out of,
people,
yeah, they're running out of time.
and this is one of those things. Now, if you believe the CIA just recently went to Tulsi Gabbard's office, director of national intelligence, and took some files from there that had to do with MK Ultra and the JFK assassination. Of course, Pentagon, White House, CIA completely denies doing something like that, but it came from somewhere. And, I don't know if I trust the sources on this, whether it's Paulina, Luna, or, I will give her and others some credit for trying to get to the bottom of UAP disclosure, but I fear that it's a rabbit chasing its tail, because they're really good at keeping secrets. They've done it for a long time now.
Where are you guys at this point in time on whether conspiracy or coincidence
We're
with,
still at 4-1.
yeah,
We need to know. We need to know, you know.
scan the
But,
QR code or just put your options hashtag A for coincidence or hashtag B for conspiracy in the chat, whether it's on Facebook. Well, I think it's only on Facebook. Can they do it also on YouTube?
it's all on YouTube.
All on YouTube. There you go.
All on YouTube, boss. Because it's, even if you're listening to us on the Dead Air Facebook page, thank you. It all goes through YouTube anyway. Let's get to some, if you think that that was rousing, let's let's get to tier 2. Now, this is one of those things that these are genuinely strange, but we're looking for evidence. And you might think we just covered that in tier 3. You ain't seen nothing yet. So let's take a look at these individuals and their stories.
Oh, yeah.
Amy Eskridge.
Yep. Did gravity research.
Yep, exotic science.
Yeah. She actually told somebody from British intelligence that she was not suicidal. And then how did she die?
Well, this is it right here.
I'll be quiet.
Okay, so the phone, her phone was not scrubbed as reported. That is an internet thing. We'll circle back. Here's Matthew Sullivan. You
Yeah,
asked
this is a
about.
big one. AKA Quake.
And alcohol.
Yeah, a mixture of medications, including child bedwetting medication. That's what they found in the system.
Yeah, I mean, they figured he got silenced before he went to Congress.
It was a week
Again.
before, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, this is Joshua LeBlanc.
Yep.
It's an interesting case. Down in Huntsville, ties to NASA.
Burnt
Fiery automobile crash.
beyond DNA recognition.
Yeah, it's propulsion programs. Anti-gravity research again. And they say someone drove him off the road or whatever. Someone close to me as a Portuguese national. This one I'm very dismissive of. Shot at his home by the same shooter who committed the Brown University killings. So, you know, breakthroughs, propulsion again, advanced energy, and the gunman was contracted to silence him, you know. Again, I think that is a case of a conspiracy. There is a former classmate of his. This is one that was compelling, but let's hear the whole story. Found water. I think he was the one who found water on Mars, if I'm not mistaken. I could be.
Jeez.
Okay, so you have those, and there are some questions. First of all, Nuno Loureiro, I totally dismiss that. He was shot by a former classmate, and apparently there was some Salieri, Mozart type of jealousy involved in that somehow or another, and this guy went to the top of his class. So he shut up Brown University and then eventually took his own life in a storage container facility in New Hampshire. But people are somehow connecting this because, you know, dark energy, propulsion systems, plasma research, and all the rest of that. I dismiss that out of hand because of the jealousy angle involved in something like that. Certainly strange happening 2 days after Brown, but yeah, I chalk that up to somebody just being on the hunt.
Was he caught right after murdering him?
It took a bit because there unfortunately in that case there were ring cameras involved and they got a license plate and someone had come forward and identified him from Brown from circling the block a couple of times. So they tied all those threads together and eventually traced the car, which was rental. Trace it to New Hampshire. I think it pinged his phone. Help me out in comments. I think they pinged his phone.
And
And then,
they knew each other?
oh yeah, they were classmates in Portugal. And like I say, it's a Salieri Mozart thing where Nuno became Mozart, and this guy was extremely jealous of him. This was all post mortem by professors, classmates,
And the
mutual
sh- and the
acquaintances who said he never quite got over Nuno
and
becoming a star.
and the shooting happened in Portugal?
Shooting happened in Massachusetts at his home. He was working at MIT at the time.
So they were classmates in Portugal, or
In
they were
Portugal, correct.
all right.
At the
Doesn't that
university.
strain credulity just a little bit?
No, not even a little, because the guy who shot him was a naturalized American citizen, and he had actually been here for a few years. So it's not like he jumped on a plane specifically. There was something about this guy as he climbed the ladder that just triggered something in this guy, a rage. And
Where was this shooting that he did? Was it Brown, you said?
he had killed two students and wounded others at Brown University 2 days before he tracked this guy down and shot him outside his house.
Uh, allegedly.
Yeah, no. Every time a high-level scientist dies now, people are going to pay attention to it, especially when it happens to this. But this is not a case where somebody put a hit out on this guy.
What if
It's not
again
it.
that they could hire a body double? They could do everything to make it look like it's him. Just a crime of opportunity to take this guy out. I mean,
Yeah, I got to push back on that.
and he killed himself, right?
Yes.
Yeah, isn't that convenient? So he
Uh,
can't deny it. Geez, it's a Lee Harvey Oswald all over again. I'm telling you, Ken, it's a conspiracy.
no, listen, obviously, this guy had nothing to live for, and he knew that going into Brown. You know,
Allegedly.
I'm just telling you the way it went down. They figured this out.
Okay, Jeff's on my page right there. There you go, Jeff.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
He went to his classmate for help. When he said no, he killed him. Okay. Let's see. So we got Nuno. Let's talk a little bit about Amy Eskridge.
Yes.
Okay. Um, there's no evidence she was assassinated. Um,
Ah, that's because they're good at it.
well, unfortunately, that's what we go by around here. We go by evidence.
But if the evidence is manipulated, if the evidence is manifested, if the evidence is made up,
Hmm.
and again, if you get the right influential people that say, close the case. Jesus, Ken, we see movies and TV shows about it. Close the case.
Well, and that's not the case because if Amy was into these kind of ideas, futuristic aerospace and things like that,
Gravity research, yeah.
speculative technologies, can those people also experience paranoid schizophrenia?
Oh my God.
Are you discounting that people can have a mental illness? It just doesn't happen? Is
I
that what
would
you're
expect
saying to me?
I would expect at the level that they are at in that kind of a research environment that
Mhm.
if there were any signs, they would be at least documented in their files. Somebody goes to her supervisors and says, here's somebody who's paranoid, who's somebody who possibly is suicidal. Uh, but she's even, again, she told somebody from British intelligence who was a friend of hers, hey, if something happens, I'm not suicidal. And then she kills herself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's easy to dismiss and just. By the way, if I disappear, I'm not suicidal. But if all after this show I disappear within a week or two, something happens within a week or two, tells you right there, there's something else going on. But anyway,
What is unproven was her phone being professionally wiped, intelligence agencies accessing her devices, scrubbing her communication, or that evidence was removed by authorities. Those things circulated all over the internet by somebody, you know, don't F with cats, 1, 2, 3, 4 probably came up with something like that. And this is the point that I'm trying to say. Those things are added on, and they, because I kind of cross-reference this with news agencies and things that were written about these people, and again, the internet kind of took off backwards on this. As far as Amy Eskridge, she was one of these folks who just she liked to discuss these things, and she absolutely shared those messages. She absolutely did. And it wasn't a case of, well, we're not going to scrub those because those came prior to her death and were received by texts on the other end. So there's no scrubbing of those things, and there's no leaving them behind because, it might be convenient, sure, to have people think that, you know, she was a little paranoid, but who knows where those things come from? There are people online right now in the paranormal community that have threatened to off or to beat the crap out of other people in the paranormal community. And we're talking about ghosts here. So this is why I'm going to take it with more than a grain of salt, but I'm also going to take it for what it is. It's people just bop, 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 bop. And we don't know, because she was an enthusiast. She discussed this kind of thing, and that's enough to have somebody come after her. She's got to have some kind of institutional knowledge about something that either they were going to come forward with. And we don't know that because some of these people were never given the opportunity to do so. Maybe not intentionally, or maybe they never planned to in the first place. Again, I'm just like Joe Friday, the facts man, just the facts.
I just realized something.
What's that?
You're connected to MUFON.
I am. I am. Wait, I'm
So you
not here.
guys put the poll
I
back
was,
up if you could, Ken.
I'm not here. I was never here.
Put the poll back up, Ken, for a second. Those of you that are watching right now, hashtag A or hashtag B,
Come
is
on,
it a coincidence or a conspiracy that Ken is connected to MUFON and he's trying to disprove some sort of conspiracy within the government with regards to these individuals? Is Ken and his connection to MUFON a coincidence or a conspiracy, guys? Put it in there for us.
I have no idea who
Okay.
Ken is. None whatsoever.
Oh, Dan, don't kiss up, Dan. Come on, Dan. You know it's true.
On the one hand, right, you get praised for being objective in paranormal research, and then on the other hand, you get convicted for hiding the truth from the American people. I don't know. I got to jibe those two things.
Not convicted, Ken. Admonished, yes, but not convicted.
Matthew James Sullivan, overdose involving alcohol and prescription medications. We talking Marilyn Monroe here on this one, or Some internet communities claimed he planned to testify about covert aerospace projects. That must have been something. Have you seen the roster of people who have been before Congress right now? But this guy had the goods. Yeah, I don't know about that. 4-2. Okay, back to our show. Again, it's a UFO community kind of thing.
It's conspiracy.
I just want to say I am not saying there is no suspicion here. What I'm saying is I am trying to present two sides of this coin. That's what I'm here. Joshua LeBlanc, fiery automobile crash. And you said it was burned beyond recognition. They couldn't pull DNA from it. That's where you went. I don't know. All right, we can have all the comment we have with science and technology without knowing some more of our more personal life. We can't have a real picture. Jeff's as an independent playing both sides of this. We're on to you. We're on to you, Hilton.
Yeah. Jeff, the problem with it, again, that I have is the frequency and the quantity with regards to this. That's if it was an individual, one individual, two, as Ken was saying at the beginning of the show, two individuals, maybe a coincidence too. But we're talking now. What's the number count at this point, Ken?
I think it was 13, Joy. I'm pretty sure it's like
13.
13 and
Hope high profile, very deep, deep into the government as far as researchers are concerned. And again, it's one of those circumstances, again, not throwing it into the theatrics of a motion picture or a TV show, but once you have filled your obligation, it's one of two things. Now, if you're released, we don't need you anymore. You did your part with our anti-gravity. You did our part with our jet propulsion, with our energy. You did your part, and you're more than welcome to now retire. There's that concern, that fear, especially when it's top secret, that other governments might try to snatch them up, get the same information. It's better to just annihilate them, get rid of them, than risk that situation happening somewhere down the road. Someone freaks out, talking about mental health situations, and they want to get out because of just trying to protect their own sanity. And I need to get out of here. He's too stressful. They're still a
let
big
me
risk.
let,
Ken, I was.
let me
Oh,
comment on one thing before we go to break, George. This is why, and you said high profile individuals. I wouldn't call them high profile, save for one. Clearly, save for one that we'll get to. But this is where someone like a Bob Lazar played it right. Because the thing that any cover up or black ops thing they fear is exposure. If you make yourself high profile, it's almost like you give yourself a Kevlar vest.
yeah. Lou
Because
Elizondo said the same thing. Yes.
right. They won't get rid of you because you end up being a martyr and just spurring more things. But if you're high profile, I mean, I wish Bob Lazar a long and fruitful life. He's been a revelation, depending however you come down on
Well, there's high social
Bob.
profile, which is what you're talking about, and there's high profile within the deep state, so to
Yeah,
speak.
that we don't know about that
Right.
people again. But if they were about to take that leap, and there's no way of knowing, I hope that Bob Lazar lives long, fruitful life and dies peacefully at home of natural causes, because anything other than that is going to arouse a lot of suspicion. So he kind of played it right. He kind of played it right. These individuals, it's hard to say. You know, maybe the lack of a profile makes them a little bit more, I don't want to say expendable. I need another word out there. But we got to go to break anyway, George. So someone can help me with my thesaurus here. And if you have questions or comments, it's like, hey, throw them out there, man, you know. But I can see in comments, a lot of people are thinking this through one way or the other. And I love it. I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, let's go to break real quick. We'll come out
Okay.
the other side. I think Ken's got a few more tiers for us.
One more.
And, yeah, TIERS,
Trail of
not
Tears.
TEARS. And we'll continue to go down this rabbit hole. Conspiracy or coincidence? We'll be back on the other side. You're watching Dead Air live on the Dead Air Full Spectrum channel. We'll see you in a second.
Join us.
We'll be right back after the commercial break.
I was built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on the gas, never stop competing. If you break my glass, then this life's gonna end.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name. Check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change. Possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quench the thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic, with this logic you can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic. Go!
Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. No, never stop competing, yeah. I've been doing this, I'm on it. I just wanna be iconic. Sipping on a gin and tonic, got me going off when I'm on this.
And now, back to our show.
Welcome back to the rabbit hole. Actually, that'd be a good
Yes.
podcast name. the
Welcome
Rabbit
back to What the Hell is Going On in the World Today?
Hole. You want to address some of these questions now, Ken? Or you want to wait towards the end?
Yeah, no, let's get right to them. Who's out there?
Okay. Jeffrey M. Garvey. Okay.
Hi, Jeff.
Professor.
Michikaku. You're taking this very seriously. As well they should. Ross Colehart was in touch with Amy Eskridge and is convinced it was not suicide, with all due respect to the family. Sure. And of course, we keep that in mind. So that's well said. All due respect to the family. I guess that it's a matter of the insiders. Okay, when you're talking about Ross Colehart, you're talking about guys like George Knapp, Jeremy Corbell, and that list goes on. With people who have conversations with them. So, in a case like this, if Ross Colehart had actually spoken to Amy Eskridge and is not just commenting on her like we are tonight, in all fairness, then if he feels that way and had some type of insight, I don't know if these were a conversation, numerous conversations, or whether it automatically signals to me that she was commenting on a lot of her work or her opinions. I would defer to Ross Coulthart, actually having spoken to her, and if he feels strongly that way, then I hope justice is served if it went down that way, Jeffrey. I'm being completely honest about it.
Yeah, he used the term. Roscoe Hart used the term red flags. All
Hmm.
these things are just red flags because it doesn't add up. Knowing the individual, speaking with the individual, and not too far before the suicide or the alleged suicide, where she stated, I'm not suicidal, just so you're aware of the fact." So, yeah,
Hmm.
sends up a lot of red flags. Here's one from Cindy.
Disappearing before or after the reveal? Yes, they're here. Oh, you're talking about APRO? I think she corrected that later. The APRO incident. So when you're talking about the APRO incidents, huh? Are we talking about 2017 disclosure type things when Elizondo exposed ATIP, which was kind of a subsidiary of APRO? Some of them, well, that came forward in what? God, 2022?
Yeah, most of these are after.
Yeah. Most of them are after that, with some exceptions. I have to, like, go through notes, but some of them were dated before that. I think the earliest was, I think, 2021 or something like that. So for the most part, to answer your question, after.
Yeah. And from our friend Jeff Hilton.
Which one? Omaro, or they need a team to head our defense for what they fear is coming. Well, there are ways to not make people disappear if you need them for a team. Not being a wise ass, just
Yeah, it doesn't
I mean, one of them is
fit
like a
the narrative.
custodian, and I mean, don't get me wrong. Even custodians at these places need a security clearance. I'm sure they have someone, a keeper, watching him when they empty the trash. So some of these are a couple of them were contractors, custodians, things like that. That is the scuttlebutt that some of these people who were into the astronomical area were seeing things in our future that might cause a panic. But again, it depends who you want to follow on this, Jeff. If you want to, I try to follow NASA on this when, like, Avi Loeb, with all due respect to this Harvard guy, I mean, he was convinced that these things are interstellar objects that are, we're finally going to get our disclosure, and they're taking a field trip through our solar system, and he hasn't been proven right on any of them. Not that he's been proven entirely wrong either, but
I it's harder for me to swallow that conspiratorial pill, really, when they're talking about, attack of the aliens. And I'm thinking pragmatically here. I think the most dangerous animal in the universe is man. I don't think that these extraterrestrial, if in fact they are otherworldly, you have my theories again about the submersive UFOs, but as far as that is concerned, again, technologically so advanced. But I think people are, again, socially programmed. I think that there is a paranoia within the defense departments uh, worldwide, realistically. Shoot first, ask questions later. You know, I just don't see that as being as realistic. But boy, that makes people feel so secure having the government say, we are developing technologies to protect you from an alien invasion. Give me a break.
Yeah, I think that a great deal. I can make a case for visitation, but I can make an equally strong case for we are probably 40 or 50 years ahead of where we should be at this point. How did we get there? That's up for debate. Did we have help, using air quotes here? Did we have help in doing that? I don't know. But I do think there are things. And someone came up with a good theory today about these triangles, these silent kind of triangles or boomerang things that if you were going to send a special ops team in someplace, what would be a better craft than one who silently makes no noise and avoids detection with stealth technology and, like, you can see it if we want you to see it. But I do believe that there is so much technology out there that would probably just blow our minds if all of it came to pass that, it was disclosed, because we know that a lot of times it's if they want to believe that that these are alien, let them. Meanwhile, the money keeps rolling in. So don't look at this, look at this instead. And I know someone who won't talk about it, who has a security clearance. And when I give these talks to MUFON George and I talk about aliens, they sit in the back of the room just shaking their heads because they know what's being developed. So you could go either way. Are we going to disclose that this is alien technology, or are we going to disclose that this is us doing it? Either way, a lot of times it's not a happy ending for whomever comes forward and decides to do that, because we've heard the congressional hearings where these people were threatened.
Yeah.
According to their testimony, they were threatened, their families threatened, colleagues were threatened. Like, in other words, if you open your mouth, we'll take care of this other person, which is, there is no better leverage than something like that.
There's two very, very simple words that basically make this equation easy, and that's power and profit. And when you were talking about into the billions, and there are people that get hired out there as hitmen for a few $100s. What kind of a person are you going to get for 100,000? What kind of person are you going to get for 5 million, for 10 million? These are soldiers of fortune, mercenaries, and then of course there are those who are contracted through the government who wind up being able to do what is necessary or deemed necessary because they believe that it's for the betterment of our country. So, it's a scary thought, but there's so much potential out there for things to be done and still fly under the radar.
Yep. Paranormal girl, hello to you. Beings are, I think, real. This is why there's silence when you see one of these craft. I've had a lot of sightings, UFO craft, over the years. Being out across the pond, I think that you corrected me on the pronunciation of the Penrick when I did an extremely strange on the Penrick incident, which was, this is not a shameless plug. If you haven't seen it and you have an interest in the government ties to this type of technology or cover-ups or things like that, go back in the archives and watch that, because it happened in Wales. And it's one of the most amazing things that I've, read about. An entire village, seeing Royal Air Force, AWACS, helicopters, planes. And then after about a week of that, flying low over this lovely little village in Wales, this diamond-shaped UFO doesn't fly in. It just like literally appears as if through a portal. And read the story because it's pretty amazing. So, like I say, I think that I think both things can be correct. There are visitations, there are things that are going on, and I also think that we are developing technology that is decades ahead of its time. That Penirk, thank you, Penirk. That's decades ahead of its time. That secrecy on it is paramount. These are rough times geopolitically right now, so we'll leave that at that. Penirk.
Where are we on tiers?
Tracks of my tears. Number one.
No. Level of tiers.
Oh, same thing. And away we go.
Tier 1. Yeah, there she is.
Mondaloy is what you're talking about.
Yep.
Using rocket engines. She was working at Rocketdyne. This is bizarre. This is a theory. 30 feet behind a companion, waved, and then gone. And they have exhausted just about every means to try to find her.
And this is her boss.
This is the other one. And this is one where the UFO community is, of course, he was the head of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Walked out of his home. No phone, no glasses, no wearable devices. So they tie him into Wright-Patterson and Roswell. And after it was released, government records, days afterwards, he walked out and vanished. This is the one.
And in those circumstances, because the wife couldn't even understand what he left in, when she left for an appointment, he was wearing his, I think, jogging suit, she said, or whatever it was, sweatsuit. And when she came back and she looked and found all of his stuff still there, including the suit he was wearing, she didn't know what he wore to leave the house. And this could easily go down that conspiracy theory that he was kidnapped by some enemy government, and or because he was no longer at Patterson, that he defected to go work somewhere else. Maybe he believed that one country shouldn't have all this power and knowledge. I mean, it adds to it and adds to it and adds to it. The bottom line of it, though, Ricky Dink podcast show like ours, we're never going to have the true answers. And I don't know if we ever will. No matter how many times they go before Congress, we've seen enough, especially in these last few years, of these congressional hearings, and it's a friggin' joke. The congressman or congresswoman asks a question, and then whoever has to answer goes into this extremely long diversion tactic, and nothing's resolved. Nothing is, and I don't think anything ever will be.
Well, what happens is, when people get this wrong, is like, I can tell you in closed chamber, which means a skiff. Okay? Which means a skiff. And no one can hear, no cell phones, nothing. Unfortunately, what happens is when you go into these skiffs with, let's say, a David Grush, who's like, I can't disclose that, it's classified, I'll tell you in a skiff. They're also accompanied by someone from NSA, CIA, all the alphabet soup organizations, the DOD, somebody goes in there. And one congressman described one of them as, this beard and ponytail looking guy. And as they're about to discuss that, they just say, nope. Nope. Okay, well, let's talk about this. You told us you would tell us about this. Nope. Nope. Sorry. Can't disclose that either. So the frustration on the parts of some of these senators and representatives is palpable, and they've spoken about it publicly. Tim Burchard from Tennessee, I guess, is probably the most vocal. Is just saying this is a bunch of this is bullshit. And when asked about, are we going to find out? He has his doubts. I would just say, what is it you want to find out? Because if you want to tell us everything, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because there will always be that national defense. In 2020 or whatever, when all of these from the Nimitz and fighter jets came out, David Fravor and all the rest of this, they came clean. Yeah, right. But then again, we'll tell you everything unless it has to do with national security. Well, you can throw that blanket over just about anything, can't you? Anything. Oh, here's some videos, and the videos that were just released in that dump, my understanding is a lot of people within the UFO community have already seen those videos. To the layperson, to me, they might have been new, but to people in that community, they've seen that, so they're immediately like, what else you got? So we'll see.
What I find disturbing more than anything else is when they were developing the bomb and everything was very, very, very secret. And that was Los Alamos. And the first opportunity towards the end of World War II to use it, it was horrific. Did we have to? That's still up for debate. Here we are 80 years later. It's still a situation where it's controversial. We were winning. Did we have to get absolute unconditional surrender? Probably, possibly. But here's the thing. It was a devastating discovery. And yet it was, okay, we've got this. You don't. Now, how many countries in the world have nuclear weapons? Too many, unfortunately. So if they have technology out there that is incomparable and non-competitive anywhere else in the world, yeah, they will kill to keep that. They will abduct to keep that secret as long as possible until absolutely necessary to be used in a warlike scenario. It could be a lot of these sightings, a lot of the things we've talked about this, that, some things were eventually revealed to be military hardware, military aircraft
Yeah.
that was being tested.
Stealth bomber.
And yeah. And how old is a stealth bomber now, Ken?
Quite old.
Yeah.
Quite old. It's like the SR-1 Blackbird spy, the fastest plane in the world.
50 years old now, 40 years old?
Yeah. I mean, they're thinking, well, this thing is defunct right now.
Yeah.
And there are
1970s, 1960s.
There are projects that have not been released. I'm not saying they're being developed at Area 51 or Area 52 or anything like that, but I think it's pretty widespread there. I think for the most part, for one thing, S4 that Bob Lazar talks about is not at Area 51. I mean, you go in there on a bus, Janus plane, and all the rest of this, but it's kind of off campus, so to speak. So if Area 51 has gotten so much attention that it's almost to the point, if you want to think everything's there, cool. Fine by us. Fine by us.
What would be the difficulty in transporting, removing, relocating whatever they needed to relocate?
Everything.
It's again, it's so much of this that just screams conspiracy, not coincidence. It's just so much of it. And, people always talk about all the time, well, when you get, and even I've heard this from politicians' mouths, hey, all these people, if so many people knew about this, things are going to get leaked out. As a matter of fact, I think it was Obama on one of the talk shows talked about, look, something like this, somebody, it's going to leak out somewhere. People are dying, people are missing. There's a very, very good possibility that when something like this is at risk, people are going to be removed,
See, the thing
either
is,
removed from life or just removed from their life.
someone who is in fear of their life, legitimately, one would think that somewhere there's a cache of information as a safeguard. If anything happens to me, I'm putting this here or I'm telling somebody. And this is why a lot of times families get interrogated as well and they look for information. But one would think that that is the fail safe, right? That would be the fail safe. In the event of my death, yada, yada, yada. Here's a thumb drive. Here's some kind of documentation. That is the thing that, I mean, clearly in the case of Amy Eskridge, if this was a legitimate concern, as Ross Coldhart says, who's got the information? Like it dies with her? That part is a little hard to. It's got to be talking to somebody about this.
No, it's not. It's not at all. Yeah. Again, I always refer to movies because I'm kind of house locked and that's all I do. But this movie was made in the 90s, starring Will Smith and Gene Hackman, called Enemy of the State. And you could see technologically what they could do in the 90s and destroy a person's life. You're thinking now, here we are in 2026, what they could possibly do with some. Ken, let me put it to you this way. Give me this, take this scenario and you explain to me how somebody such as yourself, level headed, rational guy, would handle it just before this show aired. You receive a phone call. Mr. DaCosta, if you decide that you are going to air this program, you will be disappeared. You will be taken or you will be killed. And you don't know who it is. The voice is scrambled, and that comes across your TV. What would you do at that point in time? What, we lost you, or you just off screen? Oh, you disappeared. I get it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Game Show Night.
What would you do?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Game Show Night.
Yeah, you would change it immediately. Exactly. And that's the thing. I mean, you don't know. Well, let's put it this way: every phone is bugged today through the NSA. We all know that. So if somebody's having a conversation that they find to be a danger to their profit and their power, um, they can take them out.
Yeah.
They can take them out. It's um, again another movie reference. Dave Frank Langella says, "I can kill an ordinary person. I can kill 100 ordinary people." And this is the the White House. I mean, so you talk about extremely powerful private entities and what they have the capability of doing. I go down this list, Ken. I go down the list of you did, with tier three, two, and one. It's just too outrageous to simply be a coincidence. Are there exceptions to it? Of course, like anything else. But the frequency and the short amount of time that it happened and the volume, I can't let it go.
Well, here's my thoughts on it. I'm going to relate it to the paranormal, right? Something that we in Rise Up call stacking. Something happens, somewhere. And it's legitimately odd and unusual and initially unexplainable. After that happens and people are on edge, every sound, every movement that happens immediately gets a paranormal value assigned to it. When we go in, it's important, it's vital to unstack all those things to get to the root of what is actually unexplainable. Because people are on edge. They assign values to things that aren't there. It's understandable. I look at it the same way here. The scientist that was killed at MIT by a former classmate, or what was the other one? You know, the fiery car crash. If we kind of put some of those, what was his name? Who was shot by a man who had carjacked a relative, then broke into a house, and then met this guy at his front door and shot him. I don't think that there's anything nefarious there. So if we can take those and say, awful circumstances, wrong place, wrong time, and then just whittle this down to those legitimately unexplainable things, then you're on the path to something. But unfortunately, what happens is, oh, you're a scientist, this happened, oh, you're the 14th now. And that's not going to get us anywhere. That's not going to get us anywhere. Because this guy could have gone to the MIT scientist's house and he didn't have to go to Brown first, shoot students, shoot up a lecture hall. He didn't have to do any of that stuff. You know, because there was nobody in there that was, you know, hiding anything or, you know, from the government or anything like that. So if we get rid of these obviously disturbed individuals who committed these atrocities, then we can get rid of the stack and get down to the people like McCaslin and Reza and those people legitimately that need to be investigated. And it makes me laugh when Congress says, we're going to get to the bottom. No, you're not. I mean, you can't tell us what's flying around in the sky. Do you honestly think that if there is something nefarious here, that anybody's going to come, who are you going to call in? Who are you going to call to get to the bottom of these scientists disappearing? Or who are you bringing in? Colleagues from Los Alamos who are going to go, I'm not allowed to speak to you. Okay, next. So that's where I come down on this and why there are three tiers, because there are certain things involved in this that people are just connecting dots, and there are others that warrant our serious attention. So that's my perspective on it.
Yeah, well, and I'm not saying you're hyper-focusing on the maybes, but you're certainly kind of taking the other more serious situations and saying nothing can be done about it, and we're back to square one.
Did I just say that? I said you can focus on those things.
But nothing can be done about it.
What are you going to do? If this is legitimately someone who's disappearing these people, what kind of investigation is Congress going to do? I don't have faith in them. I'd have more faith in, like, you know, a fictional character like Columbo getting to the bottom of it. Because there is far too much for them to lose, and, you know, so unfortunately, this will continue, and the internet will do what the internet does. And if people out there really want the misdirection, they are more than happy for the internet folks out there to go off on their UFO tangents and things like that, because it's just a distraction away from something that may be very real and very, very disturbing.
I wouldn't even put it past these politicians in the sense of, again, they may be getting letters or phone calls from their constituents and saying, this is an outrage and these people are missing. And I'll look into it. And they already know the situation. They already
Well,
know what's going on, especially the ones that do have high level security clearances. But I'll be more than happy to go through the motions on
well,
C-SPAN.
along those lines, I'm not trying to make this political, but it's political. You take SNAP benefits away from hungry kids. Do you think you give a crap about some family that lost their daughter to a suicide or somebody like that? No.
Yeah.
It's tragic, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. It's like,
Yeah.
no, you won't.
It's,
I just don't have that kind of faith, which has nothing to do with saying it's not legitimate what happened to some of these people. We know this from the Third Reich. First, you get the scientists, right? When we won the war, what's the first thing we did? We went and got the scientists. And we brought them back, whether it's Werner von Braun or, telemetry, rocket science, things like that. So scientists, beware.
Yep. And we've got, again, so much of what we're contending with here won't ever be resolved if we're lucky. And, we've seen them disappear too, but it comes down to investigators and reporters. Most of what I researched came from legitimate reporters
Right.
who were doing the research on this. I didn't get it off Facebook and going down the conspiracy rabbit hole, but I'm finding more and more that they're the only ones that might be able to get some answers here. But again, get too close to the fire.
Yeah, and that's what the whole tears thing was tonight as we bring it to an end, is like I took the time that I had as best I could to kind of cross reference like local reporting, comments from the family, some kind of insight rather than, just ask AI what it thinks. So this is where you try to strike a balance between this. But is this not at least cause for a pause? It most certainly is. So all of you people who didn't vote in our poll tonight, you know how hard it was for me, 4-2. You know how hard it was for me to put this together?
Hours of work.
Oh, days to get that circle up there with the two different colors.
Can they do it post-show? Somebody who watches this tomorrow?
No.
You're
When we
just going to
sign
have to
off-
leave a comment then.
When we sign off, that's the end. But in bringing this to a close, we don't have to hang around. I thank you for your insight, George. It was great. A little push and pull on this never hurt anybody. And I know I'm swinging my head back and forth, but I am looking at the folks in chat who were really engaged with this. Giving their opinions. It's hard to trust the government. And I was not here tonight to get you to change your mind about that, because I'm with you on a hell of a lot of things.
He's with MUFON, ladies and gentlemen. Just remember that.
Yep, I'm with them, whoever them are. It's like, again, I'll go into my disguise so no one can know who I am. Clark Kent, ladies and gentlemen.
Tomorrow night on Town Hall, Ken, we got some of your trip to talk about, correct?
We're going to talk about some of our trips. I think we covered most of them. We do have an announcement, and it looks to me like very soon we are going to have another live investigation coming up. The invitation has been extended to us. The okay has been given to us. And once again, we are going to be using some new technology on our investigations that I can't disclose because of national security reasons. but it's going to be like nothing that you've seen us do before. We are going to have infrared color and clarity and multiple cams like you've never seen before. And we cannot wait to test it out on you folks again.
And the location will not be Zach Bagan's museum. Just keep that in mind.
It will not.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right. Well, listen.
Who's Polka John? Looks like I'm late to the party. Damn you, Polka John. You know, listen, let's have a GoFundMe to get this guy a wristwatch.
Yeah,
Hey, dude, we appreciate you popping in, every single one of you. So,
yep.
Better late than never.
Go back to poker. Thank you guys for joining us again tonight. And for those of you who are Patreon members, again, if you're not, patreon.com/Dead Air Paranormal. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m., our town hall. Until then, guys, thank you so much for watching this evening. Have a great rest of your week. Take care. We'll see you soon.
Good times, guys. If we disappear somehow and we're not there for the show tomorrow, you'll be the first to know.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad. After her there ain't no coming back. Wanna take a run at that. I think she's feeling me, turn it up a few degrees. My imagination of her body gets the best of me. Oh gosh, she's such a tease, bitten lips.